Robert Ross is a professor of political science at Boston College in Massachusetts, and he joins us from the U.S. Robert, the most concerning thing that we've seen in a long time is this missile or whatever it is that China's developed. And it's not just hypersonic, it can go into orbit. Of course, China says this is only for peaceful purposes, but one expert was quoted as saying it appears to defy the laws of physics. How much does this raise the bar, and how much does that worry you?
Well, I think we should understand that a nuclear warhead is a nuclear warhead, and how it's launched really makes no difference once it hits the ground. And then second, people have said that it would interfere with U.S. missile defenses.
Right.
But we should understand that the United States doesn't have missile defenses. It has never had missile defenses against the Soviet Union or Russia or China, so that the ability of conventional missiles to launch against the United States has always been there, and this, again, doesn't change anything. Now, the United States is building hypersonics, Russia's building hypersonics. The ability to increase the risk of war, increase the risk of damage just isn't there, but we should expect all these countries to develop this new technology because that's what countries do.
What do you mean the U.S. doesn't have missile defense?
U.S. doesn't have missile defense. We have yet to develop and deploy a successful national missile defense system that can defend the United States against Chinese or Russian missiles. The technology just doesn't work.
Well,
and of course, it is super expensive, and Russian and Chinese missiles are very inexpensive. So that's not an arms race you would want to run.
Right, but in the past several years, the U.S. has conducted some tests of its missile defenses for this this very reason. And it does seem to have had some more success in the past few years than prior, right?
We continue to have some successes. We continue to have some failures. At the same time, we should understand that these are expensive systems and that they are seen by other countries as threats. Because the United States can defend against another country's missiles, then those countries fear that the United States will strike them at will at no fear of retaliation. So they're just going to build more missiles to make sure they can maintain the retaliatory second strike capability. Now, of course, this is, yes.
Oh, go ahead. Continue.
Well, of course, we don't know why the Chinese are doing what they're doing. There could be many motives. However, the Chinese have made clear over the years that if the United States insists on building a missile defense system and continue to develop the technology, China will have to build more missiles to ensure that it has a retaliatory capability, that the United States will not have a first strike capability.
Right, of course. And that is the nature of an arms race, or whatever you want to call it. Nobody wants to not have the upper hand here. And all of these countries now, the larger countries, have the funds and the know-how to keep inching that bar up. But we see this happening at a time when we see such tensions in the world. I talked to a couple of former high-level officials in the U.S. recently, and one of them said that what he sees now feels like the lead up to World War I. Another said that the next issue he sees becoming a crisis for NATO could well be Taiwan. It doesn't feel good to see these advancements in weaponry right now.
Well, I guess two things there. We should keep in mind that the United States has nearly 6,000 nuclear warheads. China has about 250. We should keep in mind that the United States has approximately 450 intercontinental ballistic missiles. China has about 75. So China developing a new surge in missile capabilities or more numbers doesn't pose a challenge to the United States' superiority in these weapons. The United States maintains a massive capability that can many times destroy other countries, and China's capabilities remain at the low end of the spectrum. Yes, Taiwan is a problem. We should keep in mind that Taiwan was well managed by the United States and China in the 2000s, the 2010s, and until recently, until the last 2 or 3 years, it's been well managed and off the agenda. For many years, experts said the likelihood of war over Taiwan is close to zero. What's changed? Well, we should understand that the United States is very concerned about the rise of China and is looking for allies. And Taiwan has said that it is prepared to cooperate with the United States against the rise of China. The United States has leapt at this opportunity. So many of the ground rules of U.S.-Taiwan relations have been broken. as the United States seeks to improve political and military cooperation with Taiwan. Now, the problem is we don't know where the red line is for China.
Sure.
How far can the United States go without eliciting, as you were suggesting, a reaction that could move us closer to a crisis or even war? The Biden administration has suggested that it is sensitive to these issues.
Right.
But still, without knowing where the red line is, and given the intensity with which the Biden administration is trying to improve relations with Taiwan, we should all be concerned about the prospects for a crisis.
For sure. Robert Ross, we appreciate your insight. Thank you.